Well, good morning, my beautiful people here over on TikTok. I'm Bullhorn Betty, and I cover true crime right along with our beautiful baby Delilah, our crime-fighting dog, our mascot of the coffee club. There she is. There she is. Hey, guys. We got a whole bunch of cuteness going on here with Delilah, Miss Delilah. I hope everybody is doing well. We do have some updates, not anything that's going to really help find at this moment Sebastian Wayne Drake Rogers, unfortunately. For those that are new to this case, Sebastian Wayne Drake Rogers, he was 15 years old when he disappeared from his home. He was allegedly inside the home with only his mother. The home was locked. There was no sign of forced entry. Sebastian is a high-functioning autistic boy that also has a chromosome deletion syndrome, and he was never really an eloper. He never ran away from home previously. And if anybody knows anything about autism spectrum, chromosome deletion, most have a habit of wandering or getting away from their parents. That wasn't the case with Sebastian. Sebastian wasn't an eloper. He's never ran away before. Hindsight's 2020, where we've learned he's always in trouble. He has a whole lot of trouble. So it's nice to see everybody joining us. Good morning. I'll try to go down and say hi to each of you guys real quick. Tanya, it's nice to see you. Carissa, David, hopefully I said your name right. Sonia, Mayor, Jay Hayden, Friday Foster, it's nice to see you. Your new bestie. Well, it's nice to see you. How you doing? I'm just joking. Maria, it's nice to see you. Applauser. Patty Trabin, did I say that right? Tim, it's nice to see you. Good morning, everyone. Good morning. Carolina, James, Diana, Kitten, it's nice to see you. Gabby, it's nice to see you. Mike, Julie, it's nice to see you. User, T. Jackson, it's nice to see you. We have another user up in here. I know you guys have some of your stuff. Belinda, it's nice to see you. Carla, good morning. Good morning. It's nice to see everybody. It's a little early. We do have some things to go over. So what's kicked off a lot of this distraction here recently in the Sebastian Wayne Drake Rogers from, according to me, hey Chris, it's nice to see you. Carrie, good morning. Good morning. Is when they tried to pin this 2022 finding a home for Sebastian. This was something that was leaked out of the mom and stepfather's camp. Hey, Dark Princess, nice to see you. Crystal, Sue, hello, guys. Greg, it's nice to see you. Matt, good morning, guys. Good morning. And so that kind of kicked off this email, where they went out and found the emails, and come to find out it was Chris and Katie that's been trying to rehome Sebastian since 2022, and the bombshell revelation that 4 or 5 CPS reports were taken out in less than 2 years with the mom and stepfather and Sebastian Wayne Drake Rogers. It sounded like the teachers were reporting some things. It sounds like there was a couple neighbors that had called something in potentially. So we don't know how that is. Here you go, Delilah. We don't know what that is. But then after that, then obviously the step-grandma comes out, calls Seth a pedo yet again. It is co-signed by the unscrupulous PI that cannot produce any materials after being challenged by the Lore Lodge to produce these materials. If you're going to call somebody this horrible, horrible name, at least show us some of the evidence you have to support that claim. I mean, that is a horrible claim. This is an officer. Many people don't realize Sebastian Wayne Drake Rogers' father is a deputy sheriff in a jail in Davidson County. So he's an officer of the law. And it's really quite appalling that they're putting his life, in jeopardy because he's around prisoners and prison guards. But that's not the point. What did get released is the exact time of the Uber car. We now know that the Uber car was at the property to pick up the Uber, the person to take him to the airport at 3:33 in the morning. We heard that that was around 5 a.m. Now we know conclusively, we've seen it on video, that that Uber car, it was a red Uber car. They believe it was some sort of Tesla. Hey, Chasing Crimes, nice to see you, my love. They believe it was a Tesla that picked him up, but there was another car going by around the time that they were picking up the subject to take him to the airport, or her or him. I don't know which neighbor needed to go, whether it was a male or female. I'm not that invested in the neighbor or the Uber driver, just the time when it was in the area. We've learned that the unscrupulous PI really is doing damage control. He's alleging that he works for Sebastian, yet he's doing damage control for the mom and stepfather. How do I know? Well, all you have to do is go look at his Twitter page, right? He has been sitting there on his Twitter page throwing shade on everyone. He's trying to provide legal advice. He's not an attorney, to literally everyone. He's trying to show how smart he is, but he's not that smart, especially to people that have been trained in the law. And while I don't do the law perfectly, I don't write my pleadings perfectly, I can tell you I understand. I have full comprehension of how to read the law. And when it comes to these leaked texts, yes, there's been some leaked texts that came out that we were absolutely 100% aware of last year, and did whatever needed to be done to secure the system. And this is the type of people that you're dealing with, people, defendants that we are suing, that are literally trying to break into our systems to see what kind of conversations we're having, with private conversations we're having with our attorneys. That is, if there's not a criminal element to that, I don't know what is, and you know exactly who's doing it. It's really sad because the only person that's being affected from all of this nonsense is Sebastian Wayne Drake Rogers. Sebastian, this boy behind me, he's the one being lost in all of this back and forth that the mom and stepdad have encouraged people to do. So what's happening is on social media, you're hearing the stepfather saying, stop the bashing, ordering his people in front of the camera to stop the bashing. However, as soon as that was over, they turned the heat up and started going DEFCON on and scorch earth on literally everyone. So that is telling me right then and there that in front of the camera, this stepfather and mother are trying to show face to all the people out there. But behind the scenes, they're telling the people to keep going, keep going, keep going. Because I don't know of anyone that would go against the will of the parent that they allegedly are assisting to bring their child home, right? And that doesn't make sense. For example, Seth, and actually it wasn't Seth, it was Tony. You know, they're having an open communication with law enforcement right now. And, you know, there wasn't any type of communication telling me to stop, you know, going after law enforcement for what they've done to me. I mean, they lied under oath, right? But at the end of the day, the number one goal was to get law enforcement to start opening that line of communication with Seth, which was accomplished. So my choices were to keep complaining about myself and the situation I am in, or to fall in line and get behind and push this communication that they're having with law enforcement and supporting Seth in that. You know, basically checking my own BS at the door, which I've done. And I'm willing to do that because I care about this case. I care about Seth. I want him to find his son. I want him to have open communication with law enforcement, and I want them to work together. So there's that portion of it. And then you got this chaos being created by this circus that has been, I want to say hired, but they really haven't been hired. They've been encouraged, right? That's what happened. These people have been encouraged to continue this nonsense on behalf of the mom and stepfather. And we've got to stop that, because at the end of the day, Sebastian Wayne Drake Rogers is the only person that matters in this whole case. We've discussed some of the evidence that law enforcement would have on every person in and around Sebastian Wayne Drake Rogers' life, including their phones, their cars. Also, there's something we have to remember. the stepfather has access to other vehicles. Okay, he does have access to other vehicles. And then there was another creator that basically stated that Seth rented a car the morning his son was missing. This is how misinformation and disinformation gets turned around. I heard on Bed Crime Stories, which is another YouTuber, state that she talked to this law enforcement or this retired PI or whatever it was, and he thought it was awfully funny that Seth rented a car. From the very beginning, we knew he was in his truck. He had just left work. Hell, when he got there, he had to take a few hours to sleep because he had not slept all night long because he was working. And people were like, why is he sleeping in his truck? Remember that whole nonsense going around? And now we're hearing from somebody that's trusted and reliable, like Bed Crime Stories, saying that he rented a car. What? Who gave you that information? And not only that, I did actually pick up the phone and confirm and corroborate it, not just by Seth, but multiple people that were in and around that area at the time. And Seth was 100% in his truck when he arrived at the scene. I don't know where this rental car came from, but it couldn't be further from the truth. And the unscrupulous PI hired by the mom and stepdad has tried to manipulate us in believing that this is not the view we were seeing in the lights video. This is a 3D image done by Pinchot and on YouTube, where he took 3D imaging, exact imaging of that neighborhood, lined up the cars with the cars in the video, and then turn the lights on. And this is the view you get from the cameras with the lights view. Thank you, Pinchot, for that information. We also have some information from Katie the day that Sebastian disappeared, because according to her story, she wakes up at 6 a.m. She immediately goes into her son's room to wake him up for school to start, so he could start getting dressed. He was not there. She got a little panicked. She walked around the house, saw if he was in the kitchen making himself some breakfast, and within 3 minutes calls her husband. She says she's frantic at this point, so frantic that the husband has to call the non-emergency dispatch line on 3-way because she is so hysterical she could not do it herself. However, she gets in her car, her Infiniti XQ, I think it's 60, powder baby blue, gets in her car, drives out of her driveway, and immediately out of the community. Does not search any of the roads inside of her community, and goes all the way to the school, allegedly, while her husband's calling law enforcement, and she needs to hurry back to the home to meet the law enforcement person at the house. Now, the problem is nowhere in her story did she have time to wash her hair, brush her teeth, or get dressed. According to her story, at this point, she would still be in her house clothes. Yet we have freshly washed hair with gel in it. This is gel. I know gelled hair. Okay, I'm a female that used to have very long hair and very curly hair. And this right here is freshly washed and gelled hair. How do I know? You need to go back to the night before, to the Texas Roadhouse Grill. You can absolutely 100% see that her hair has been cleaned since that night. So why does she have time when she's frantic and is anxiety ridden, completely unable to speak to law enforcement, unable to formulate sentences? That's why her husband had to call law enforcement. She was absolutely frantic. But somewhere in all of that hysteria, she had the wherewithal to stop what she was doing, get in the shower, brush her teeth, and get dressed. Somehow she was able to do that before law enforcement got to her house, when she was running home as quickly as possible to meet them at her home, allegedly, and according to multiple sources. So how does she have such clean and beautiful hair? You would think a woman that just woke up and found out her child was missing would still be in her flippin' house clothes when she's dealing with law enforcement, like we see many other parents that are in the same situation. But to be fully dressed, showered, and cleaned, and just waiting there, waiting to report it, that to me is very suspicious, and nobody is talking about that. The unscrupulous PI further states that he knows everything. He knows the car, the 3 a.m. car in the neighborhood, the 2 cars that were there. We have it on Elevated Truth, another podcaster on YouTube, stating that the father, Chris Proudfoot, or stepfather rather, Chris Proudfoot, told him that his truck was picked up on the cart search from the 25th to the 26th, and his car was picked up. And the dumb SOBs, or the dumb a-holes, didn't even know it was his car. Ha, ha, ha. That's how he was talking to Elevated Truth. So we're here to raise the roof and say Sebastian's name. Say his name. His name's Sebastian Wayne Drake Rogers. He's 16 years old. He's 5'5", 110 to 120 pounds, anywhere from light brown hair to dark blonde, brown, some people may say hazel eyes. He was wearing these dark rimmed glasses. He has this beautiful smile on his face, and he is autistic. He does not like dirty water. He does not like dirt. He does not like bugs. He has a grass allergy. He is not an outside type of person. He likes being inside in his room, playing with his toys and his gaming system. So if he was out there, and I would assume he would still be very concerned. He would have maybe some meltdowns. He would be kind of off his game. Again, the autism is a little finicky, so he might gel well with kids, but not adults. There's a lot when it comes to this boy, and it's my understanding and my belief, if he really did run away from home, at some point he would have had a very, very large and public and very loud meltdown that would be very noticeable and draw people over to the commotion, so much so they would identify Sebastian and call him in as missing. That has never, ever, ever happened. So I'm going to ask you guys, and as offensive as this might sound, don't be idiots and use your brains, right? Because there's a lot of people trying to do damage control. Why? I don't know. They keep saying they're here for Sebastian Wayne Drake Rogers, and shame on us for following the leads and knowing it takes motive, means, and opportunities to do anything, whether it's kidnapping or something far worse. And there's only a limited people that had motive, means, and opportunity, and unfortunately, his father is not one of them. Unfortunately. But there are 2 people that appear to keep hiding and hiring the most vile people to do damage control for them. You've got a woman that can't clean her house. Another woman that is literally got 2 additional civil cases, and the Department of Human Services involved in that custody issue because one of their children has bruises around her neck. And I'm pretty sure the Department of Human Services wants to know where those came from. And I also found out the Department of Human Services may be involved because of government assistance that somebody might be having. And it's like, these people are making $100,000 that we're watching make on this thing, and you got government assistance? Possibly? Never mind the one in the woods sniffing something while he's searching for Sebastian. These are problematic things. And then you have the most unscrupulous person that has a PI license you can find to help you. Ones that are willing to manufacture reports that are completely bogus. Like Mob Crew was able to go through those videos and just debunk everything this PI did. Why would the PI that says he's working for Sebastian be manufacturing reports that help the mom and stepdad that are absolutely untrue? These reports are untrue. They are it's with the lights. He's trying to say the lights are the house that's like right next to on the other side of a cul-de-sac when it's in the backyard of the Proudfoots. But he did it anyways. He didn't care about the truth. He only cared about the people padding his pockets and how he can help them. There's no help for them. There's no help for them. Why? Because this was an autistic boy where his circle was so small that it's only possible that a number of people could be responsible, because he had nobody in his life, very limited friends. He didn't have access to the internet when he was at his mom, because he was always in trouble. Every time he was at his mom's and stepfather's house, he was made and forced to wear a diaper. They humiliated him. They tried to discipline him into normalcy, and everybody knows there's no possibility of that. And there's no evidence on the property. No evidence at all that this child walked out that door. And you know what no evidence tells me? No evidence is evidence. It tells me that there was some type of cleanup. That's what that tells me. That there was some type of cleanup. And that concerns me greatly. Now, you guys know I love the deceptive detective. I just learned of this deceptive detective covering this case. And I love, I love hearing him talk. He is so mild and meek. Definitely not a Betty. Definitely not a Betty. But he's better than Betty, right? Because he's got this great way of explaining things and showing us and teaching us how to identify or help us identify deception in people's statements. And he is willing to do more work on the Sebastian Wayne Drake Rogers case. But again, just like any other professional, they try to do it what they can. But at the end of the day, they have goals that they have to meet on their stories, right? So his goal is 50,000. I think he's done like 4 videos on the Sebastian Rogers case, and they're getting up there. They're almost up to the 50,000, but not quite yet. So I'm going to ask everybody that's watching, please go over to the Deception Detective and watch those videos. Let's get those numbers up so we can get him working on another interview in this case to identify deception. I think we all in our gut know that people are deceiving us or being deceptive or lying, just flat out lying, right? But sometimes we need that confirmation, like somebody that's educated and experienced in this, a professional. Sometimes we just need that corroboration that we don't feel crazy, right? Because a lot of us, we think about this and we're like, am I wrong? Like, everybody does it in life, right? Am I really off base on this? So we're constantly asking ourselves that. And hearing another creator and another experienced professional talking about something, it kind of gives us, at least, we're not crazy. We're not the only ones thinking this type of, you know what I'm saying? So that's kind of where I'm at. So I hope you guys go over there and start watching the Deception Detective, because I am very, very, very interested in that. And of course, we have Sebastian's vigil coming up. I expect this to be by far one of the biggest vigils that Sebastian has had to date. Okay. Sebastian Wayne Drake Rogers, we all know, disappeared on February 26th. This is going to be happening on March 1st in Hendersonville. The reason why I'm telling you guys now is if you guys are going to come, you're going to need to make sure that you make arrangements with your jobs, you make your travel arrangements, but more importantly, because, Henderson is a smaller community, if you want to stay inside Hendersonville, you might want to start getting your reservations taken care of sooner than later, okay? That's all I'm going to say. Take care of your reservations sooner than later, because I anticipate some of the hotels getting packed. This is going to be a larger event. This is his 1 year milestone. Many people that haven't been able to get to a vigil are most likely going to come to this particular vigil because it is a milestone vigil, not a milestone that's a good milestone, a bad milestone. Nobody wants to be missing, and nobody wants to be here for a prayer vigil for a boy that's been missing for a year. But that is what we're coming up to. I pray to God before this vigil, we get some breaking news. We get something that'll help, move this case into the right direction. But it's hard because we know what we know. We know that we're not crazy here. We know we're not crazy. We know what we're seeing is not right. We know that the behaviors of these parents don't bode with anything that we've ever seen in our life when it comes to a missing child. Not just a missing child, a medically needy missing child. And then we got bozos and Bozo the clowns acting all crazy, sitting on toilets with chickens in their hand. 300,000 people need to take this guy seriously. He is my ex, so I am biased in this. I will tell you. I'm not going to lie to you. Anything to embarrass this piece of crap, I'm going to do. He did a lot of embarrassing things prior to me meeting him. I had no earthly idea. Well, people are starting to spread him around, and I gotta say, this is pretty freaking embarrassing. This is pretty freaking embarrassing. And if you guys would like to see a little bit more, you might want to go over to my ex channel. I made a thumbnail. I made a thumbnail. I won't lie. And you know what the thumbnail said? The thumbnail said, we don't do drama. What did it say? Hold on. We got to pull it up. There's nothing on here. Where is it? I didn't want to get in trouble, so I decided just to crop that. There's nothing to see. There was never anything to see to begin with, but, there's nothing to see here, okay? Even the whole picture, there's nothing to see, okay? But still, I didn't want to get in trouble on YouTube, so I waited until the live was over, and I'm like, I better blur that spot out. Even though you can't see anything in real life, and there's nothing there to see on the photo, I might as well put that little box there because I don't want somebody screaming that I'm doing nudity. So this one, I just took the whole bottom out because, I got to be honest with you, I don't trust TikTokers. My channel would be gone. So we cropped it up, okay? So now you only got the 2 chicken heads, okay? I'm sorry. It's TikTok. Don't blame me. Blame TikTok, okay? So I'm crying. This is too funny. But we need to get back. And of course, the leaked photos, which are the leaked text messages, which was in the Fortress Watch account. It kind of sucks that people would try to infiltrate our chats with our attorneys. But I got to tell you that I think that's like majorly crossing the line. And then to be sitting up and bragging about it, I think there might have been some federal laws violated in that orchestration. So I'm pretty sure At Night is going to be dealing with that. But we do need to get back to Sebastian Rogers. Not one of these yahoos that are helping the mom and stepdad are worth their salt in anything, okay? This man's a yahoo. Their PI is a yahoo. The creators are trash that they use. All of these people don't mind committing crimes, right? They think that as long as they do it when the camera's off, nobody's going to know and nobody's going to find out, Nobody's going to know nothing. We're just stupid people. Well, I hate to burst their bubble, but they broke into a private intelligence chat room, okay? Trust me, they know everything at this point. So I would be more concerned if I were them because they thought they were being slick, and I don't think they realized they just stepped in a bunch of what. So that's kind of everything that we've got in a nutshell. It's still a crazy story. I've been dealing with so much with this story. It's hard. Trust me, the only reason why I am still in this is because of this boy and his father. And quite frankly, Tony Mathis, the national spokesperson for that father. I am so gracious and so grateful Tony took kind of, the reins, because look at all these people Seth was working with that turned out to be snakes and trash. Can you imagine if we were here a year later with them? nothing would have been done. There would have been no Nick the Hat. There would have been no Dog the Bounty Hunter. There would have been no movement in this case. There would have just been just a bigger pissing contest than what's going on right now. I'm very, very thankful and appreciative of everybody involved, even the good creators on here like Chasing Crimes and her squad of people that are really trying their hardest to keep, facts. They don't deserve to be trashed for advocating for a child on this platform. Nobody does. At the end of the day, we're here to search for a child. If you're here and you're breathing and you have the ability to type on this chat and type vile crap on this chat, you need to sit down because you're safe. You're okay. We know where you are. We know what kind of mood you're in, right? We know your state of mind. We know you're just a hothead, right? This boy here doesn't have an opportunity to be a hothead. He doesn't have an opportunity to be angry or frustrated or have his feeling hurts. He doesn't have that opportunity right now. Why? Because we don't know where he is. So I really don't care, and that's what gets under people's skin. I really don't care about people's opinions or feelings when I'm searching for a child that's missing or might be deceased. Like you're here. We know where you are. Move out my way, right? We're not looking for you. I could care less of your opinion. I do crazy stuff to get results. It is what it is. But it's all lawful and legal, and it's all protected work. So I'm not really worried about it, but I'm not trying to be rude to people when I say that. But you're here. We know where you are, whether you're disgruntled or you're happy or you're helping. You're still here. This boy is not. We have no clue where he's at. We have no clue what kind of condition he's in. We have no clue if he's being hurt. Right? We have no clue if he's being SA'd. We have no clue. I don't have time for people's, oh, it's all about me. Oh, look at me. Oh, look at this. Oh, look at that. I'm sorry. We just need to get back to how are we going to find this child. Before I close, I have been in hunt and in search for a very, very specific statement Chris made that I heard him make. So I absolutely 100% know it is out there and know he was on a public interview or chat at the time he verbally made this statement. And this is a statement he made long before Dog and Nick came into the case. And he made a statement on a live that they will never find him. Everybody's looked. What does these YouTubers, it was something in line with that. What are these YouTubers? They're not going to find him. And then it was followed up by, if law enforcement, blah, 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 blah. So I would like anybody that has heard that statement or knows what interview that statement was made on, please reach out to me at bullhornbetty@gmail.com. bullhornbetty@gmail.com. I'm looking for that statement Chris made publicly about how they will never find Sebastian. I heard it with my own ears. I know it exists. And I am just, because there's a lot of interviews and I'm just one person. So I've been asking my friends on YouTube to help. And now I'm asking my friends here on TikTok. If you remember what interview that is, or you know that clip specifically, please send it to me, bullhornbetty@gmail.com. Betty, I've been searching high and low for that statement. I have too. I think for whatever reason, it's going to be somewhere in the Smiley's World interview or Web Sleuths. I don't know why. I keep thinking it's on a hate channel, one of the hate channels interviews with the stepfather, and it very well could be, because I think I might have identified another possible video it could be in. But because I've only heard it like once or twice, that's what's leading me to believe that I heard it from a hate channel, because those are the only ones I can't stand to watch. And so I really don't subject my brain or my, mental capacity to, because they're horrible interviews. They're, quite frankly, for me, they're an embarrassment. They're a poor representation of Sebastian. And moreover, it shows a poor representation of the parents that were taking care of this child the majority of the time. And I don't like them. I don't like them at all, right? I think they're horrible parents. I think they abused their child, and I think that they possibly could have abused their child to death. I don't have the proof yet. Law enforcement clearly doesn't have the proof yet. But I know that it's going to come back. And when it does, it's going to paint a very ugly picture. Why? Because this child had nobody else in his life. There's only limited people it could be. And as unfortunate as it is, it's somebody that's very close to him that did this to him. That's not only statistics, that's the way the facts are leading in this case. And let's face it, if something did happen or they did have to stash him somewhere, it's going to be a place that's known to them. It's going to be a place that's familiar to them. That's why it's so important to get history and background information on all of these people, because it helps you locate areas of comfort for them. And that's what I'm looking for, areas of comfort, right? Because people go to areas of comfort that they know are isolated, secluded, or they can do whatever they need to do. They're not going to go to a place that they've never been before and try to do some check it out first. I mean, this is moving high, faster than the speed of lightning. Something happened in the house. Mom calls the husband. Husband stays on the phone. Husband, it most likely comes back to Hendersonville if he wasn't already in the Sumner County area, and helps the mom out. That's truly what is painted inside my head when I put all of these pieces together. Not that all these pieces say that, but this is the most reasonable explanation for all the pieces we're seeing up to this point. So that's kind of where I stand. And I know there's some people that believe in that. There's some people that believe part of that and have other differences. Some people believe this child was SA'd, HT'd, just a whole host of things. We don't know what happened. What we do know is that there was a lights video. And this lights video to me is very damaging. And it shows one person with a light going into a car and leaving a community, while another person with a light goes toward the Proudfoot home. Only one person woke up inside that home that next morning, 3 hours and some later, less than 3 hours later. Only one person woke up in that home, and you've got two parents, a mom and a stepdad's behavior that does not bode with the situation that they're dealing with. We've looked at interviews that they did over 30 days after this child disappeared. This wasn't an upset mom. This wasn't a desperate mom. This wasn't a mom urgent for answers. These are problems for me. These are behaviors that don't bode with the situation. They're too calm. They're not... you're talking about military trained parents, okay? I don't know if you know about military trained parents. You're talking about strict, outside of excellence, nothing is acceptable. Yet they're accepting the unacceptable. They're ready just to move on with their life. Law enforcement did what they could. We know there's other cases they got to get on. We just kind of got to, move on with our lives. That's what Chris said. Let's just grieve and move on. We've got to move on at some point. Really? I have not. I'm waiting to meet an innocent parent that has moved on from their child's disappearance and or death. I haven't found one yet. They're the first. They're the first for me. So... I'll let you guys be the decider for your decision. I will always tell you guys, no matter what you hear, whether it's from me or anybody else, any other content creator, please, please, please do your own fact-finding. Don't rely on anybody's statement. Just don't. It's never good. If you're here for the sake of Sebastian and learning about this case, let us be your guide, but not your, you know what I'm saying? So if we say something like this happened, do your own research into that. Figure out whether that bodes. And the reason why I'm telling you is because I work very hard to be as accurate as I could possibly be, but some other people don't. And you guys may be sucked into misinformation or disinformation. That's why I say, even for me, fact find me. If you do that for every creator, you'll never be left in the dark and you'll never be led astray. And there's a lot of people being led astray. So I thank you guys for hanging out with me on TikTok. If you have not subbed up to my account here, please consider giving me a subscription and a heart. It's a heart over here. Over on YouTube, it's a thumbs up. So don't forget, I'm also on YouTube. This app is still not safe, y'all. There's only been an extension on what we were experiencing for 90 days. So there is still a possibility that's looming out there in the near future. So I'm just going to tell all of my friends that are creators on this app, please don't leave all your eggs in one basket. Come over to YouTube if you need help, building up numbers or whatever. I'm happy to host you on my channel. I have a decent following. I'm not by far the biggest channel. I'm actually a high, small to a low, medium channel. I've got just right under 40,000 over there on my YouTube, but I'm always here to help people that are doing a good job and that just need to continue their good work that they're doing. I do not promote if I find out that somebody is not living up to what I think are, because I'm a very moral person. Not once upon a time in my life I was not. But I am a very moral, lawful person. So if I see things or hear things or see people doing something I don't agree with, I don't necessarily call them out. If they're not nasty to me, I'm not going to be nasty to them. I just don't hang out with them. I just don't help them. I just don't do anything like chasing crimes. I know she's trying to have a channel over on YouTube. I'm happy to host you. I'm happy to bring you up on the channel and have a conversation about this to get you some, to help you move that account right along. So, and I'll keep that open to everybody on here. I know it's hard to convert from one platform to another, but if you are in anything, you need to don't diversify. Okay. That's with anything. And let me just school you, even in your finances, you don't want to keep all your eggs in one basket. You want to diversify. You want to have a little bit in everything, right? Because when one thing is not producing for you, something else might. So never keep any of your eggs in one basket. Always diversify. If you notice, I don't have the largest platforms on all of the social media apps, but I have a good following on all social media apps. Okay, so I can really dovetail. If YouTube went away tomorrow, I would be over here. If this went away tomorrow, I'll be over YouTube. If both of these apps went away, I've got a good following on X that I could build up. Or Instagram. Instagram is probably my lowest because I just don't do a lot over there. I know I need to, but I just don't. So I got to get better at Instagram. That's like my low point. I do good on Facebook, good on X, good on this app, good on YouTube, but Instagram's my fatal flaw. It's the one thing I just can't seem to get into my routine. So that's going to be a goal for me. So anyways, all right, guys, thank you. I hope you guys have a wonderful Tuesday. Rock it out with your coffee beans out. Don't forget to be fearless. If you see something, say something. And again, just a piece of snack, 2 chicken heads. I don't know. I just like it. It makes me feel good to embarrass this a-hole, after everything he's put me through. I don't know. Maybe I need to get over it. I get it. But until then, here we go. All right, guys, I love you. God bless. Make it a great day. And don't forget what this is truly all about. Let's get it back to Sebastian Rogers.